So now we're up to the final of our unique sections that we're going to be making, because the last couple we're just going to be replicating ones which we've already created. So we're nearly there. We're going to now create another background image just like we did at the top, except instead of being full screen with the 100 VH property, we're going to set a specific height for it. And we'll also look at how we can put a linear gradient over the top of it to just change the color of it slightly. It is, of course, as is becoming habit, going to be wrapped in a section, which is going to be our container once again, and we're going to give it another name. In this case, the class will be called Season. Okay, so back into our HTML. Underneath where we finished up with our image gallery, we're just going to put in another pair of section tags. And as I just said, we're going to call this one class Seasons. Now I just have one little thing in the middle of this. I'm just going to have some text, and because it's a header, I'm going to give it an H2 tag, and the first one we're going to use is summer. Okay, so let's go over to our style, and we'll do as we've become accustomed to, the full stop and then the name of the class, which is Season, our curly brackets, and then we need to define the background image. So very similar to what we had early on, we need to define background image and URL, and it's not going to be in my thumbnails. This one is in my original images because I want the high resolution version, and I want to choose have a picture called Summer Season, so that's the one there, and then of course finish with my semicolon. If we check our live preview now, you can see we do have a little sliver of that image there, but it's only showing up as high as the content of that text, so we do need to specify a height for it. The height property I'm going to set to 500 pixels, and now of course we should be able to see that it's looking a lot better, but just like we had the same issue when we put in our image at the start, we need to change a few more properties so that we can see it properly. So I'm going to set the background size to cover, just like before, so you can see the whole image, and I'm going to set background attachment to fixed so that when we scroll it will stay in place, and lastly we're going to change the background position to center so that it centers our image on the page. So now let's go full screen, and we can see that that's working nicely. It's staying in place just like we'd hoped. The only thing we need to fix up is this text, which isn't quite in the right place. So because that's an H2 tag and I know it's nested within the Season class, I can go Season H2, and let's set the color to white. I need to put it into the middle, so I'm going to use text align to do that, and put it into center. I'm going to set the font size so it's nice and big, and remember we're doing this in percentages relative to that original 24 pixels, so I'll set that to 300%. And I need to move it down from the top a little bit, and I know that this is 500 pixels high, and it's going to remain 500 pixels high even if I make the window full screen like that. That height doesn't change, so I can use a padding at the top to push this down into the middle. I'm going to put 200 pixels of padding at the top. And that positions it quite nicely in the middle of that picture there. Just for interest's sake, what would happen if I changed that to margin? How would that affect what happens here? Let's have a look. You can see it pushes down the whole image as well, so obviously we don't want that. We want to use padding. Just showing you that in case you do happen to use padding by, margin by accident and you're not sure what's going on, you need to make sure you use padding. The final thing I'm going to do for this video is create a little bit of space between the bottom of the image gallery and the top of this section here. So there's a couple of options. We can either put margin bottom on the bottom of the image gallery section, or on the top of this Season section, and that second option is the one I'm going to do. So if we go here and we set our margin, and I'm going to use 40 pixels top and bottom, and I'm going to put 0 on the side so to make sure it goes right over to the edge. Okay, so that's it for now. Later on when we come back to this and when we duplicate this section for the winter part, we'll find that we actually have to make a few modifications to our CSS rules so that we can change the image in the background. And we'll also look at how we can put a color overlay on top of that. So get that up and running, have a play around with it, make sure that it's fixed in the background so you get that cool effect when you scroll over the top of it, and we'll go on to the next video.